The human heart is an organ that pumps blood throughout the body via the circulatory system, supplying oxygen and the nutrients to the tissues and removing carbon dioxide and other waste. The tissues of the body need a constant supply of nutrition in order to be active. If the heart is not able to supply blood to the organs and tissues, they will die. A powerful muscle is slightly larger than a clenched fist. It is composed of 4 chambers, 2 upper, the atria, and 2 lower, the ventricles. It works as a pump to send oxygen-rich blood through all the parts of the body. A human heart beats an average of 100,000 times per day. During that time, it pumps more than 4,300 gallons of blood throughout the entire body. The upper right chamber of the heart. During the normal cardiac cycle, the right atrium receives deoxygenated blood from the body. Blood from the head and upper body arrives through the superior vena cava, while blood from the legs and lower torso arrives through the inferior vena cava. Once both atria are full, they contract and the deoxygenated blood from the right atrium flows into the right ventricle through the open tricuspid valve. One of the 4 one-way valves that keep blood moving properly through the various chambers of the heart. Located between the right atrium and the right ventricle, the tricuspid valve is the first valve that blood encounters as it enters the heart. When open, it allows the deoxygenated blood collected into the right atrium to flow into the right ventricle. It closes as the right ventricle contracts, preventing blood from flowing backwards to the right atrium, thereby forcing it to exit through the pulmonary valve into the pulmonary artery. The lower right chamber of the heart. During the normal cardiac cycle, the right ventricle receives the oxygenated blood as the right atrium contracts. During this process, the pulmonary valve is closed, allowing the right ventricle to fill. Once both ventricles are full, they contract. As the right ventricle contracts, the tricuspid valve closes and the pulmonary valve opens. The closure of the tricuspid valve prevents blood from returning to the right atrium, and the opening of the pulmonary valve allows the blood to flow into the pulmonary artery toward the lungs for oxygenation of the blood. One of the 4 one-way valves that keep blood moving properly through the various chambers of the heart. The pulmonary valve separates the right ventricle from the pulmonary artery. As the ventricles contract, it opens to allow the deoxygenated blood collected in the right ventricle to flow to the lungs. It closes as the ventricles relax, preventing blood from returning to the heart. The right and left ventricles contract simultaneously. However, because the right ventricle is thinner than the left, it produces a lower pressure than the left when contracting. This lower pressure is sufficient to pump the deoxygenated blood to the short distance to the lungs. During the normal cardiac cycle, the left atrium receives oxygenated blood from the lungs through the pulmonary veins. Once both atria are full, they contract and the oxygenated blood from the left atrium flows into the left ventricle through the open mitral valve. One of the four one-way valves that keep blood moving properly through the various chambers of the heart. The mitral valve separates the left atrium from the left ventricle. It opens to allow the oxygenated blood collected in the left atrium to flow into the left ventricle. It closes as the left ventricle contracts, preventing blood from flowing backwards to the left atrium and thereby forcing it to exit through the aortic valve into the aorta. The mitral valve has tiny cords attached to the walls of the ventricles. These help support the valve's small flaps or leaflets. During the normal cardiac cycle, the left ventricle receives oxygenated blood through the mitral valve from the left atrium as it contracts. At the same time, the aortic valve leading to the aorta is closed, allowing the ventricle to fill with blood. One of the four one-way valves that keep blood moving properly through the various chambers of the heart, the aortic valve, also called a semilunar valve, separates the left ventricle from the aorta. Heart failure is a chronic progressive condition in which the heart muscle is unable to pump enough blood through to meet the body's need for blood and oxygen. Basically, the heart can't keep up with its workload. At first, the heart tries to make up for this by enlarging. The heart stretches to contract more strongly and keep up with the demand to pump more blood. Over time, this causes the heart to become enlarged, developing more muscle mass. The increase in muscle mass occurs because the contracting cells of the heart get bigger. This lets the heart pump more strongly, at least initially, pumping faster. This helps to increase the heart's output.